Hey, welcome to In Grace and Knowledge. The point of these quick training videos is to keep it under 5 minutes. So let's just dive in. Why are book overviews important? These are essential because we need to know the context, the background, the backdrop, the worldview, and the lens from which a piece of literature was written. And to use two analogies, one, we wouldn't pick up a sci-fi novel and expect the characteristics of that piece of literature to be the same as a comic book, right? A second analogy would be if we were to want to rebuild an engine, we wouldn't do so without consulting or knowing the engineering manual, right? We wouldn't know how everything fits together. We wouldn't know the functions, the terrain, or anything like that. And it's the same thing for any piece of literature, and particularly biblical literature, the Bible. It is literature. It's also history and theology. So we need to know the quote unquote engineering material, the engineering manual, if you will. So this is knowing things about the author, the audience, the political, social backdrop from the setting, the place it was written from or written to, the plot, the narrative, all those types of questions sets us up to be good readers. Just like if we were to pick up a sci-fi novel, romance novel, whatever it is, with the appropriate lens and worldview and expectation of characteristics, the same thing goes for us. When we know those things, we become good, faithful readers of the text. And I think sometimes we want to push back against that sentence because maybe we feel like it is unnecessary hard work. But again, I would challenge us to think about the fact that we don't push back against that on any other category. If we go back to the engine analogy, if I'm going to pick up my car and I expect my engine to be rebuilt, I'm not going to be upset with the mechanic doing everything, knowing the manual well, right? That would be my expectation, that they're putting my engine back together to work the way that it is supposed to work. And so we should expect the same for ourselves as Bible students, to handle the Bible according to how it demands to be handled. So that is, again, as literature, history, and theology. And conducting a book overview and getting all that context and backdrop helps us do that well. So if you're specifically watching this video in reference to one of In Grace and Knowledge study series, then you're going to get a book overview in the PDF that gets sent out in those studies. And basically what I am providing is a 10,000 foot overview. It's a snapshot of those elements. So it's not going to be filled with commentary or full of a ton of explanation. It's going to be a lot of bullet points to kind of get you started. So I still encourage you to read the provided overviews that you can often find at the front of study Bibles or commentaries, but what I provide you will hopefully be at least a jump start to the genre, the backdrop, and at least get you started. That is why book overview is so necessary and crucial. So get in the habit of setting up that backdrop, setting up that lens from which to approach the text from. Keep that handy and consider how it will affect the way that you are reading the text. Typically, I would say after conducting the book overview, I would encourage you to read the book in its entirety. So that way it's fresh in the mind of like the different themes and the plot and the reason why it's being written. All that is fresh in your mind. So that way you can look for those things as you are just attentively reading, but then keep those handy as you do the deep dive. So that's why book overview is important, and I hope that's helpful.